just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this. And totally redeem yourself!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Green Room. We've got a great show planned for you tonight, but first, let's see what's new in the Grow Tent this week. This was my grow tent just a week ago. Everything appeared to be thriving. Little did I know I had a thrip infestation. I had over 100 plants and fighting it felt like a losing battle, so I had to make the tough decision to cut all my plants down. The grow tent looks a lot different than the last time you guys saw it. We have to get the entire tent emptied, and unfortunately that is what is involved. When something like this happens, I want to be able to sterilize properly. So we're going to take this as an opportunity while the tent is empty and all the systems are dismantled to rethink the layout and rethink the way the tent is going to look to set us up for success for the next run. And now it's time to enjoy the show.
All right, all my garden enthusiasts and passionate plant people. Welcome to the Let's Get Growing show here on the Urban Gardener channel. In fact, welcome to the Green Room today. And not only is it awesome to have all of you here with us tonight, but let's welcome our amazing co-host for the Green Room. Let's welcome Natalie, the Fresh Princess, here with us tonight. Awesome.
Monday, Enoch, and happy
It's
Monday,
Monday. Yeah. Here we are.
Thank you all for joining us. We have a great show planned for you tonight in the Green Room. Joining us tonight, we actually have tomato expert and author of Epic Tomatoes, Craig LeHoullier. It's very exciting.
Yeah. And our good friend, and this is actually kind of a meeting of the co-hosts, our co-host of the monthly gardening book club and in the garden segment contributor, Marc Boucher-Colbert. Mr. NBC is with us tonight too. Right on. This is great.
It's gonna be a great show. I can't wait.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. Really awesome to have. We did a book club with Craig LeHoullier back a while back ago and everything too. But I've been again wanting to get. And that's the great thing about this Green Room now is that I've got all these great guests we've had on past shows and all of that, and always trying to find ways to get them back. But now at the Green Room, it's just we got every Monday night we can get somebody coming back here. And Craig was just such a great interview when we had him on our show for the book club, so we just had to have him back. And of course we got him back, we might as well bring Marc in with the conversation as well too tonight. So it's going to be a really great conversation tonight, so all of you definitely hang on for a really great show coming up.
Absolutely. And thank you to everyone watching and hanging out with us tonight, and also to all the replay viewers that couldn't be here for the live. Thank you for watching, and let us know you were here in the comments.
Yes, definitely let us know you're here, where you're growing from, what you got growing on, all of that sort of stuff as well too. If you are here with us live too, definitely right now we do have our roll call coming up. This is for all of you live viewers. Definitely jump into the chat right now. Let us know you're here. Let us know what you got growing on, and we'll give you a shout out here in just a few minutes here for our roll call. Also, I do want to remind everybody too, we are your 3-day gardening weekend here on the Let's Get Growing show. And we do have our regular shows on the weekend as well, Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern, for all of you who haven't had a chance to check us out on the weekend as well too. So come and check out the shows. We'll let you know a little bit later on what we got coming up for this next week as well.
Absolutely. Exciting stuff. So how have you been doing? How are you?
Doing all right. Busy. I know you're busy too as well. I mean, I've had quite a day. I was warning you beforehand earlier. I was like, oh man, I feel a little tired, but you know what? When lights hit, show gets going, man, the energy kicks up. It's so fun to be hanging out with everybody here too. So
a relaxed conversation, which is nice. You know what I mean? No pressure. So
no pressure. That's right. Exactly. I love it. Yeah, and been getting out too. We've just having some amazing weather over here. I know a lot of, and we've talked about this a little bit on our weekend shows as well too. A lot of like over here in the Southwest of the United States, been dealing with this big, huge heat wave. I mean, like Southern California, Arizona, Nevada, all these places are like seeing triple digit weather going on down there in March. Here it's the first
Yeah, I've
weekend of
heard.
spring too, right? And they've got triple digits. But you know what? It's benefited us here in Southern Oregon so much because like the weather is perfect, perfect.
That's so
You know
nice. I
that.
was gonna say,
Yeah,
rub it in. We're still
I'm
getting
gonna
snow.
rub it in. I know. I
We're still
gotta
getting
rub it in.
snow. I just had the snow melt out in
Oh
my
no,
backyard. So
yeah.
now my garden is I can see my garden now. So
You can start seeing it and getting ready to think about what you're going to be doing. But again,
exactly.
being in the north, it's just so again being so up and down right now as well too. There were folks we were talking about last week who were dealing with storms and everything, who are seeing some like up and down, kind of warm day today, cold day tomorrow. So it's just that
Yeah,
time of year when it comes down to it. But we're definitely benefiting from whatever is going on in the Southwest here and getting some just perfect weather around here in Southern Oregon. So I hate to rub it in, but it
that's
really
okay.
is. But you know what? You know what'll happen though? It's just a week or two from now, it'll be freezing again. Who knows? You
It's
never
that
know. There could be
time.
some snow, could be hitting us as well too. So, it could just turn right around. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a unpredictable time. We can't get our stuff in the ground usually until June 1st. Well, if it's not cold weather crops, right?
Right,
Things like my
right.
flowers and stuff, I can't get in the ground until first week of June. Last year was
Man,
second week of June. So
wow.
yeah, we have frost up until May.
I know. And for me though, this year I'm really going to be pushing my limits for sure because each year over the last couple of years I've been wishing I got my tomatoes out about a month earlier because I need that extra month of growth outside and everything too. And but we have our last frost date is set for like mid-May,
Yeah.
right? And by mid-April the last couple of years it's just been fine, been perfect, and if anything does happen, maybe I gotta go cover something up or do anything like that. But I've been regretting not getting them started early for the last couple of years. So that's
Right.
I'm going to do that this year though. I'm going to get them out mid April and see what happens and see, hopefully it doesn't bite me when it comes down to it. Cause I'm really going to test it for
Only
sure.
one way to find out.
Yeah. Well, it flips like a switch here. We get into, you wait till like mid-May because of the last frost date and all of that. But even before that, it just kind of turns to summer like that.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, we've got these just high temperatures and the tomatoes just don't like that so much. You get them just in the ground, you just get them started. And then within a couple of weeks, you're seeing triple digit weather and everything. And they start suffering right from that point. So if I can
Yeah.
get a good month's head start, that would probably be really great. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's all about
definitely
planning.
would have been okay, but I know here we are. One of the cool things is I put my little intro on the Saturday show and I show people what's going on or what I got growing on, all that, and then here on the Monday show we get to see what you've got growing on.
Ay,
And
ay,
there ain't
ay.
much growing on, is there? Oh my! If everybody saw that intro video, tell us a little
Yeah.
bit
So
about this last week. I know we kind of touched on it just before we finished up last week, but
yeah, I was conflicted, right? I like to
yeah,
keep
yeah,
videos positive but at the same time, it's the reality of gardening. Sometimes things
mm-hmm.
happen,
That's
and
right.
I thought, okay, why not? It's an opportunity anyways to switch things up in the garden, but it's just been a stressful time,
Yeah,
losing over 100 plants is never easy and having to make a difficult decision for your garden.
yeah, yeah.
Sometimes you have to, and
Yeah,
um,
in some senses though too. I mean, again, and I kind of touched on this a little bit last week with you as you were kind of contemplating a little bit of this is that you know, being in an inside tent like that, we all deal with outdoors, all that sort of stuff. We can deal with some things that are happening and everything, but for that growing inside a tent like that, I mean, you really got to make this decision. I got to let everything go if certain things start to get infested like
yeah.
that, right?
Well,
Versus me, I'm in my outdoor garden. If certain plants are having a problem, I can go chop those up, go get them out, maybe move something else in there, but I don't got to go and take out my whole garden.
the whole garden was actually infested. So
Yeah.
normally I've had problems with plants where I could just isolate the plant with the issue, remove it, and move along with my garden. But in this case, I have a microscope, and so I put all the leaves from every plant under the scope, and everything was affected. And so once it gets to that point, it just was a battle I wasn't willing to fight. Thrips
Yeah.
can be a very challenging pest, especially when it's in an indoor garden. And so, yeah, it was just
Yeah,
gotta
I
do
will
what's
say
best.
though, I did talk to my friend Christopher yesterday about how he deals with thrips in his situations when he gets them, and he's, one of the things he did stress with it is that thrips really need soil to
Mhm.
really continue their life cycle into things. And one of the things he just says is that all I really do is, I'm washing my plants off, and that sort of stuff as well too. It can be hard to really kind of keep up with them when they really start infesting and everything.
Well,
But
yeah,
the one advantage you have is having a water system, though.
right. They
Yeah.
burrow in the plant
Mhm.
tissue. So there are
Yeah.
sprays and there are things that you can do, but once
Yeah.
it reaches a certain point,
Yeah.
it becomes, I've seen people that think they've gotten rid of it, and then they start new plants, and then within
Yeah.
months, those plants are also affected. And I do
Yeah.
not want to go through that again.
I
It's
know.
already,
Oh,
you know, having to kill plants is so difficult. It honestly, it was heartbreaking. I was
yeah.
grieving all of last week. It was tough.
Yeah.
But
But
that's okay. We're
again,
good.
like you said, and in those sort of senses too, here we are. It's the first weekend of spring. We're all, as gardeners, excited about this new season and all the new
Yeah.
things we get to grow and do all that sort of stuff. For you in this indoor garden, you get this kind of feeling of renewal and new things in this all
Yeah.
new garden and
And
everything.
the
A couple
outdoor garden
times,
to look
yeah, and
forward to as well, right? So
exactly. That's really
yeah, we got
awesome.
a lot of work to do. I'm gonna really just change everything in the tent and rethink my systems and modify things. And yeah, it's gonna be a lot of work, but it'll be worth it.
Yeah, it'll be worth it in the long run. Well,
Yeah.
right on, everybody. I hope you all been getting into the comment section here because it's time for roll call.
My name is Kevin. Yeah. That is my name. Yeah. They call me Kevin. Yeah. Because that's my name. Roll call.
All right, everybody. It's roll call time. Let us know you're here. Let us know where you're growing from, what you got growing on in your garden. And we'll give you your quick little shout out here for our roll call. And of course, right at the top of our roll call, we definitely want to give a huge shout out to our good friend and facilitator, backstage producer, all around J-Bot of the show, Jay, joining
Yeah.
us from
Thank you.
Midwestern Ontario in the lee of Lake Huron. Thank you, Jay. Everybody keep an eye out for links and information and all that sort of stuff that Jay shares with you throughout the show in the chat. And also we have with us today, jumping in a little early, I saw.
Yeah, we've got Robin Gardens from Chicagoland. Trip to the garden center for some pea trellis and 3 delphiniums. Just hopped into my cart and followed me home. Yeah, it's always you trip and fall and something ends up in your
Yeah.
shopping cart.
Yeah. I said, the car just veered on into the
Yeah.
parking lot of the garden center for sure. Right? I love it. Sean the gardener joining with us as well too, watching from Cornwall, UK. And
Welcome.
excellent. Thank you for being here with us today. It's great to have you.
And we've got Meg's Edible Landscapes. Hi, Meg. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, an EE 2201 with a
What's
big
up?
old TFP. Yes. There we go.
What's up, Alex? Watching from Virginia Beach, focused on heirloom indeterminate tomatoes, the epic ones. Exciting.
Epic ones. That's right. I know our guest loves to hear that for
Yeah.
sure. Absolutely. All right. J-Man in the house too. Another big TFP shout out for
What's
sure.
up, Jen?
Yeah.
Minnesota starting peppers and tomatoes this week. Exciting. I guess Minnesota, I thought you guys still had snow in Minnesota. Wow.
Right. Well, hopefully maybe indoors, right? Getting a head
Maybe,
start or
perhaps.
something like
Right.
that, right? Yeah. I know for sure. I got to get my tomatoes started up, get going, so
Yeah.
they can get out there nice and early, like I was saying. We got Sean. We said Sean the garden, but they got carrots, parsnips, onions, potatoes, dahlias, all these sort of
Love
great
dahlia.
things growing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I need to get me some new varieties of dahlias for sure.
Yeah, we've got Doyle. Happy Monday, Doyle. Hope you're having a good evening. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, and Shooting the Soil saying, hey, everyone. All right. Great to have you here with us tonight.
Oh, we got Seed Addict. Oh, you're going to like tonight's episode. Seed Addict is the one that sent me all the fancy tomato variety seeds.
Oh,
He's
yes.
also known as the Tomato Whisperer. So,
Oh,
you're
excellent.
gonna
Excellent. Well, we got the perfect guest for a
like
tomato whisperer tonight. That's for sure.
it.
Absolutely. And we got our good friend David from Bowtie Life in the Garden joining with us here, Triple G Global Gardeners. It's great to see you, David, from the Emerald Coast of Florida, Panhandle, where it's 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, that sounds about like, it wasn't quite 80 here, but it sure felt like it. It was so nice here, that's for sure. Hey, and again, I'm sorry I have to rub that in, everybody.
I was like, it must be nice. Must be nice. From Ohio, growing peppers, tomatoes, peas, onions, and much more. Nice. Happy growing, EE.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, we've got our man from Urban Ag Solutions. That's our man, Marc Boucher-Colbert, our other our co-host guest tonight, which is great for him. He gets to sit in the guest spot for the show
Yeah,
tonight.
put him in the hot seat.
That's right. That's right. But thank you everybody for jumping in there for roll call and everything. Is if
Yeah.
you haven't and didn't get your name shouted out yet, definitely still drop that in there. Let us know where you're growing from and what you got growing on in the chat. Join the chat with everybody, and we'll feature your comments and everything down below. And definitely drop in questions if you have any questions for our guests as well too tonight. We definitely love to feature your questions. That's the great thing about doing this show, right? Is we got you here with us live. So drop in those questions and we'll try to get those asked of our guests here a little bit later in the show. But it's I was editing and putting together our Grow What You Eat segment, but we got a little bit of a different one tonight. We got both Shawnee and Robin together with us
Oh, a
tonight.
duo.
A duo we got tonight.
I love it. I love it.
Check out what they've got growing on.
Let's check it out.
Grow What You Eat.
Today, we're talking about which herbs are best to grow from seed, which ones are worth buying from a nursery, and why the real magic is growing the herbs you can't find at the store. This is Grow What You Eat, a special video with me, Shawnee Grows, and
Robin Gardens.
let's get into the best herbs to grow from seed to directly plant out into the garden. So after your frost threat is gone, you can direct sow some basil seeds, all different types of flavors. Now, if you're at the time where your frost is still around, let's have you plant some parsley, cilantro, dill, chamomile, calendula, and chives. So, Robin, what are the best herbs to buy started from a nursery?
Well, I have found that rosemary, thyme, oregano, lavender, sage, mint, stevia, and lemon verbena are all good ones to buy at the nursery because they can be quite difficult to start and babysit from seed. And I have a little trick. I'll buy one plant, plant it in the ground, and if it's one that I want more of, I will plant seeds all around it and wait for those to come. So I have instant gratification with the plant and more to come later. And I particularly like to do it with rosemary because I like to dry it for the winter time because that's when I'm using it in my soups and stews. And this is a food grade zippable container. And this also makes a great present if you want to gift it.
I really like your tricks that you just mentioned about, planting something and then putting some seed around, right? And then knowing how to package it. Now, something new that you talked about was the orange mint. That might have to go in my cart this year if I can find a plant. That's an interesting one.
Oh, it's a tasty one for tea.
That's what I'm thinking is tea.
Yeah.
So let's do the herbs you can't buy at the store. We need to grow those, right? I'm trying some new ones this year, and I think Robin is too. I am going to try lovage. And I hear that it tastes like celery and parsley combined. And I never see it fresh for sale. Do you see it at farmers markets?
No, no.
So there's something there about that. The plant called sorrel, I'm going to try to get to grow. It's described as a bright lemony taste like spring. I hear you add a couple leaves to maybe a salad. Summer savory is peppery. Supposedly it's amazing with beans. I don't have experience with it. And I guess it's impossible to find fresh. So let's hear from you in the replay and in the live chat. What herbs do you grow that you cannot buy at the grocery store? So we also want to talk about how are we using these herbs. So Robin, give us some creative kitchen uses.
Well, both you and I like to make teas, lots of combinations from the garden. Last summer, I found that lemon verbena together with my lemon drop basil and stevia, and you only need 1 or 2 leaves because boy, is it sweet. Makes a wonderful tea. It makes a wonderful tea hot and cold. Another way to showcase your herbs is in a compound butter. It also makes, a little panache on the table for the holidays. So think about using your herbs to make a compound butter. And then my husband really enjoys tabbouleh, as do I. And it's best made in the summer when you've got plenty of fresh parsley and mint coming in from the garden. And it's the same time your tomatoes and your cucumbers and your scallions are also coming in from the garden. Another one I like to do, Shawnee, is dill. And I like to plant that in successions.
Yeah.
I like a variety called Ducat, Dukat. That one works out really, really well. It's great for my pickles, and it's great for tuna salad and grilled salmon.
I do love dill. I love growing armfuls of dill. I am excited. I have some seeds from Robin for this dill that she speaks of. So we're going to see how it grows in my garden. So to continue on, I do think that compound butters are such an easy way, and then I never do it. So maybe that could be a goal in the kitchen this year, is to get myself some compound butter blends, right?
Yep.
We can also do things like herbal honey. So using 2 tablespoons of fresh herbs or 1 tablespoon of dried herbs per 1 cup of honey. Some combinations that you might want to try is your lemon thyme with honey. That's good in tea, or just take it by the spoonful, right? A lavender honey can be drizzled on biscuits. There's a garlic and thyme honey blend that you can make for immune support. You can throw ginger, turmeric, and citrus together in honey for colds. You can do a lemon balm lavender if you want to take some for sleep.
I like lavender.
Do you like it?
I do. I actually put it in cookies with thyme, like a shortbread cookie with lavender and thyme. It's so interesting.
I hear about lavender syrup a lot to put in beverages. Yeah.
Yum,
We
yum.
also, I mean, if we're going to talk about tea, we also have to talk about dressings. I don't know why, but I feel like if you're doing one, you should do the other. So to make an herbal dressing, it's herbs plus olive oil plus apple cider vinegar. And you can add that is parsley with lemon and olive oil and cracked black pepper, because I love black pepper. I wish I could grow it, right?
Yeah,
The dill and some yogurt for some kind of sauce
sure.
or like a dip. A basil vinaigrette. I am going to throw out a recipe for everybody, an immune boosting green goddess. We're going to blend 1 cup of packed parsley. Parsley is one of my favorite herbs. Half a cup of mixed herbs. So throw in some dill, basil, cilantro, chives, dealer's choice. 3/4 a cup of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons of a sweetener. So we're talking your honey or your maple syrup, 2 teaspoons of mustard, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. There you go. Now there's also,
I got to try that. That
I know.
tasty.
Can you taste it?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm excited. I'm excited. We've got ways to use salts too. I've seen this with planted in the garden. They take a bunch of herbs and some dried peppers, and they mix a bunch of salt together, and they store it in a jar, and then it's a seasoning that they have.
Mhm.
To I've never done it. We're going to try it though. So I have to talk about basil iced tea. Who here in the chat makes basil iced tea? I want to hear, which basil do you grow? We have a recipe, a way how to do it if you don't know. So you harvest your basil leaves, about 2 cups packed, and place it in a half-gallon mason jar or, Pyrex, whatever you got. Boil 6 to 7 cups of water and pour the water over the basil. You're letting it steep now at this point, 20 to 30 minutes, but do know that the longer you let it steep, the stronger the flavor. So then you strain the basil leaves out of the tea. You are able to put honey in it if you want. While it's warm, it helps emulsify it together better. Stirring it, you can add lemon juice. You can actually make it ahead of time and have it in the fridge for up to 2 weeks, serve it over ice, right?
I would never last 2 weeks in my fridge.
I would have to make like a giant amount. And then if you wanted a relaxation or anxiety blend, you can mix chamomile, lemon balm, and lavender together for your calming, sedative, anti-anxiety, right? Tea. A cold and congestion relief tea would be combining a mullein leaf, mint, and thyme to support your respiratory health, of course, with honey. So herbs aren't just for cooking. They're ecosystem builders, filling empty spaces, mid-layer plants, living mulch, flowers for pollinators. Robin, what do you see in your ecosystem?
Oh, I plant plenty of extra parsley because the black swallowtails come and lay their eggs on my parsley and their little caterpillars grow up there. So I have plenty of parsley in my yard. I also let my oregano and my thyme eventually go to flower in the garden because the pollinators just love it. Borage is another herb that will bring in the honeybees, the bumblebees, the native bees, and draw in the beneficials like parasitic wasps, hoverflies, ladybugs. And they're not just flavor and function, they're beauty. They add a high-end kind of appeal to a summer dish, like a salad, maybe a cocktail.
I agree. So coming up over on the Shawnee Grows channel, if you haven't seen my tomato seed haul, my pepper seed haul, my full garden seed haul, and I laid out the plan of how I plant spring, summer, and fall to grow and eat, check out my channel. Robin, what's happening over on your channel?
Well, I talked earlier about compound butters, so go over and check out my compound butter video. And I also do the Roots and Rambles episode once a month with Shawnee on her channel, Shawnee Grows, and we unpack all kinds of garden topics. The last 2 we did were garden hacks and myths and winter sowing, and we've got an episode coming up on the power of color in the garden.
That's
so
right.
Make sure that you're subbed to Shawnee's channel.
Yeah. It's
Remember, to grow what you eat and
eat what you grow.
Ivy Organic was founded on the gardening concept of whitewashing, simply lightening your plants to better tolerate weather extremes, transplant shock, and so much more. Such a valuable gardening practice that farmers have been doing it since BC times. However, in recent years, most research has been caring for plants and trees using latex and tar-based products which are designed to last 100 years but fall off your plants within 1 to 2 years as your plants grow, contaminating your garden soil indefinitely. Ivy Organic gives organic commercial orchards and backyard growers an organic and healthier alternative. Also, unlike latex and tar-based products, Ivy Organic dries on porous, allowing moisture and nutrients to pass so that your coated surfaces such as grafting wounds and pruned branches will not rot. Ivy Organic has 2 general categories of whitewash products. The 3-in-1 Plant Guard, which includes 7 natural oils, including castor, cinnamon, clove, garlic, peppermint, rosemary, and spearmint, which offer insect and rodent repellent protection, and the Whitewash Oil-Free formula. Both products also have diatomaceous earth in the base ingredients, which naturally offer some insect repellent protection too. As always, keep growing with Ivy Organics and wishing you all happy gardening.
Why wait for the right season to start your garden when you can grow anything you want all year round? This is my indoor garden where I grow all of my own produce regardless of the season. Aeroponically grown food, pesticide-free, all organic. The mission is to inspire and educate others to do the same. Whether you're limited in space or not, an indoor garden can be your reality. Follow along as I explore all the ways to achieve a successful indoor garden. From aeroponic Dutch buckets to vertical grow towers, I experiment with all kinds of grow mediums and varieties. Let's learn and grow together and reclaim our food sovereignty.
All right. Here we are back at it here on the green room here. Right on. What a great segment by both Shawnee and Robin. What a surprise. We get them both this week. How great is that?
And always inspiring us with ideas. So I love that. Thank you both.
Yeah, absolutely. Really great. Again, go check out both of their channels. I know Shawnee or Robin was saying to go make sure you get over to Shawnee's for their live stream that they do, but make sure you go and check out both of their channels. We got links down below in the description for everyone. Go over there and check out what they got going on over there. Lots and lots of great stuff for sure. And real quick here, though, just want to let everybody know about what we had growing on here this weekend on the Let's Get Growing show. That's right. We're here 3 days a week on the weekends. And this last Saturday on the show, we had a really great show. We had Grant Meekhorst joining us. He's from the Gardening Grant. He's just a really great, I watch him primarily on Instagram, and he just does some fun reels and content all around gardening, lots of flower gardens and all that sort of stuff, but all sorts of other regular gardening too. And just a really great conversation with him. And we also had David from Bowtie Life in the Garden. He joined us from the Farmhouse Fair. He was live on location at a fair for us doing some correspondence work, I guess you'll have to say. So that was really fun to check out what they have going on there as well. We had our Sunday edition of the show, and it was supposed to be Christopher and Kang together as it's the first weekend of the spring. I like to get them together. We used to do old live streams each and every year, but Kang didn't make it. He had something come up, but we still had a great conversation with our good friend Christopher, growing out of the mountains of Norway. And him, like you, Natalie, he does a lot of like hydroponic type of growing in an indoor environment. He doesn't have the tent like you do, but he has a big, massive like grow room and everything as well. So
beautiful. Awesome. Yeah, I'll have to go check him out. I intended on watching the replay. I wasn't able to tune in, but I'll have to watch.
Yeah. And then, of course, we were here last Monday, too, for the Green Room, and we had a great show for you last Monday on the Green Room. We had Jessica from Dream to Seed and Chad from Down Home Backyard Gardening. I always get that mixed up. But no, that was just an awesome show. Those two were just really great to talk to. We have so much fun every Monday with our guests, but that was a really
always
fun one
it's
too,
the
right?
guests. It's the guests and you guys watching that make the show. So thank you so much for joining us, and I'm excited for tonight's conversation.
Yeah. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this tonight, right? It's time to get into the Green Room. All right. And welcoming to the Green Room, we've got our other co-host from the book club, our good friend, Mr. MBC, Marc Boucher-Colbert, here with us tonight.
Hi, Mark.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Right on. And also, too, we've got the author of the epic tomatoes book,
Epic.
Craig LeHoullier, with us tonight. How awesome is
Welcome,
this?
Craig.
Hey everyone.
Hi, Craig.
The lighting is so weird because now that we have our grandson living with us, usually I'm in which is now his bedroom. So for the first time ever, I'm out on my dining room table, but we'll make this work. I'm great. It's been an interesting time.
Interesting time. Well, that's great. You got your grandkid.
Pleasure to have you here with us.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and I really appreciate the invitation. Thank you so much.
As do I.
Absolutely. So as we get going here, we do want to give you each a couple of minutes. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the sort of things you're up to right now, and plug a little anything you want. I know, again, I'll just put this out right here too. I do got this really awesome book right here too. I love this Epic Tomatoes. We got the author with us here. Craig, tell us a little bit more about yourself, what you got going.
It's been a year. We've had our daughter and grandson living with us since August, and then my wife had her knee replaced.
Oh
Then
man.
I had my knee replaced.
Oh
So
my.
it's been really
Oh.
fun. We're
Oh, I can't
finding,
imagine that's fun at all.
well, I'm pretty lucky. The knee went well, and I'm finding chasing a 14-month-old around is like the best PT you could possibly do.
Right? That's great.
Trying to deal with Hendersonville's crazy weather. We're in the mountains of Western North Carolina. Everything was beautiful. We had the magnolias out. It was 80. Everything was in bloom, and we had 3 nights of 22.
Oh my God.
Which turns everything brown and black. And
Horrible.
you know, my tomatoes have started. Seedlings are up. I've got transplanting to do, but life is good. The only thing I haven't really progressed as much as I wanted is the 3rd book because of knee replacements and grandchildren. But it will get done.
Yeah, we'll have to talk a little bit more about that too coming up here as well. Yeah.
What about you,
Craig? What's the 3rd book?
It's going to be a real detailed expose on the dwarf tomato breeding project. Really the story of why we did it, how we did it, every cross we made, every result we came out with. So it's going to be a self-published because it's really a niche topic that, you know, tomato genetics nuts will really enjoy it. People that enjoy growing the shorter varieties of tomatoes. That's hence the self-published. Major publishers really are thinking, this isn't going to be a huge seller, but that's not why I'm writing it. I'm writing it to tell the story.
You mean this is going to be not so epic tomatoes?
Equally epic, but not as buzzworthy tomatoes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Them dwarf varieties are really getting popular right now.
Yeah.
What's really cool about them is that we made the effort to do no publicity on them. We did the, if you build it, they will grow. And the seed companies listing them in their catalogs are doing most of the work. And the hard part is not knowing where each of the 169 varieties now, where have they been grown successfully, who loves them, who could love them more, but maybe they're not suited for their region. So they're in their infancy. The first ones came out in 2010 or so. So the next 15, 20 years, we'll be learning more about them. And because they're open pollinated, people will be able to save seeds. And in 50 years, we'll see which ones are still being grown and which ones have kind of gone to the backstage for a while.
It's very interesting.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Well,
Right on. Yeah, Mark, tell us a little bit. I know a lot of people around here, but I know we got lots of new names and people I'm seeing in the chat here. Let everybody know a little bit about Mr. MBC.
Okay, well, there's a lot to say, but Mr. MBC is, I'm, one of my, biggest projects is being garden educator at this Franciscan Montessori Earth School in Portland. And definitely spending a lot of time trying to get kids excited about gardening, doing all kinds of hands-on projects, doing a lot of cooking. Last week we made a killer Brussels sprout and leek pizza that didn't have a dab of tomato sauce on it. The kids ate it up. They loved it. We went and harvested the Brussels sprouts, and I have a portable pizza oven that we just do it right outside. So, that's the kind of fun stuff that we can do and gets kids, I'm trying to appeal to their bellies. I'm trying to go straight through the belly to the brain.
Yeah.
And really the memories kind of visceral there. I've started back up at Noble Rot, the rooftop garden. We're doing 20 years this year of rooftop gardening at Noble Rot. So I started that garden 20 years ago as part of a master's program. And we've been going strong ever since. So that's kind of fun. It's a little bit diminished this year because I think we're heading into some re-roofing. So that's going to definitely complicate things, but we'll just deal with it as it comes and see how it all goes. Some plants might die in the middle there. I don't know. It's going to be touch and go. What else do I have going? I got this Design Your Eden. This is one of my interests. Always kind of been interested in design and been getting more so as time goes on. And so that's a kind of a creativity card deck where I got these little different cards about things you might find in the yard or garden, hardscape, softscape, the elements, the values you might want to be pursuing. You know, maybe you want a garden to work in, and what kind of garden would that be? Making connections between the gardens. That came out of a permaculture class that I took. Has a lot of permaculture imbued in it, but it's also very much for the urban and suburban kind of person just trying to live their life out in their backyard and wanting to make improvements on that. So it's kind of a little fun thing that's out there in the world as well.
I think one of the things you said that's so important, and at the end of my talk, I always say, you know, I hope I've helped you grow a great garden. What you need to do is grow gardeners, because that's really what we garden educators do. And by using color and flavor, telling some stories and histories, COVID created these zillions of gardeners because everything closed down.
Yeah.
How do we make sure they're all still gardening, and how do we even grow that bigger? So I think garden education is really where it's at, what we have to do.
Well, you know, I'm keenly aware that our biggest competitor in that realm is the digital world. I mean, these kids are just sucked into that world, as we all are. I mean, to a certain degree, there's so many temptations to get sucked into that world at every level. But you know, many of us, at least if you're old enough, like I'm sure you and I, Craig, grew up with a reality that was completely apart. I don't know how old you are now, like Enoch, you probably too. We completely apart from digital. I mean, I remember the first computer I ever saw was in high school. It was like, that's when computers came out, personal computers.
Right.
So it was like, up till then, it wasn't even a thing. I mean, you know, you had to go into my folks' closet to have a private conversation in the kitchen. It was like going into the pantry with the phone cord. So it was like
the big long phone cords.
So when you were away from these things, you were truly away from them. And now they're so pervasive. They're on us. They're just with us every single moment. So
yeah, there's no escaping it now.
No, yeah.
There's not at all, for sure.
I was just really fortunate to give 2 talks at the Cleveland County Master Gardeners. And Master Gardeners events are so great because people are just so enthusiastic. And the last talk I gave was on the history of gardening in America between 1850 and now. So using hundreds of seed catalog scans, I just took people back to what their grandparents, parents, and they grew. And one of the slides I used was a 1963 Burpee catalog that my father and I was 7 years old. We would flip through it together because he wanted to win the $10,000 by growing the white marigold. That was their white marigold contest. And just looking at the catalogs and realizing how everything has changed, from drawings to photographs to photoshopped photographs that show things that are impossible to get in reality, but they catch people's eye. So it was always a business, and it always used hyperbole. But this is a real different game now. Everybody is competing for a finite amount of the gardener's pocketbook.
That's right. Oh, so many great deep things to be getting into tonight. But before we really get digging in here to this conversation tonight, we have a little bit of fun for you all as we get started here in the green room, doing things just a little bit different than what we do on our regular weekend show. But we like to start off our conversation with a little bit of a lightning round.
Okay.
Lightning round. All right.
Yeah. We're going to put you both in the hot seat, one at a time. But
squirming already.
Yeah, we like to do a little bit of a lightning round. So you have 1 minute to answer 10 questions, and it's whatever comes to mind. Just have fun with it, and it kind of just helps the audience get to know you a little bit better, and we just have fun with it. So, Mark, are you ready?
Here we go. Let's do it.
All right. Whenever you're ready, Enoch.
All right. We'll get this timer started, and we'll start throwing these questions at you. Here we go.
Whenever you're ready. Biggest gardening myth you wish would disappear?
Oh, God. Biggest gardening myth, that gardening is easy.
If you could grow only one edible crop for the whole season, what's your pick?
Carrots.
Finish this sentence. I knew I was officially a gardener when?
I don't know. I all my tomatoes had failed, and I came back and did it again.
There you go.
One
There you
tool you didn't think you needed, but now you can't live without.
Hori knife.
Most difficult plant you've ever grown.
Oh gosh. I don't know. Pass on that one. I can't really think of.
Who's your biggest gardening inspiration?
Probably Elliot Coleman's definitely one of them.
Direct sowing seeds or seeds starting early?
Depends on the crop.
If you could grow a garden anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Oh man, South Africa's supposed to be really nice for growing. They got great gardens there.
Ooh.
Close. 8 out of 10. We got
Ooh.
2 more. We'll ask you anyway since you're here.
Okay.
Worst gardening advice you've ever received?
Worst gardening advice I've ever received. Gosh, I don't know. Oh, I don't know.
Gardening is easy.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, let's recycle that one. We'll just recycle it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And favorite gardening chore?
Oh, I like watering. I like watering with a hose. Hand watering in the summer is one of my garden pleasures. I love getting out there, and it gives me a chance to slow down and see the garden.
Yeah, I agree with that. Nice.
Yeah.
All great answers. Thank you so much. Yeah. All right. Craig, are you ready?
Why not? Just let's go for this.
All right.
Let's go for
Enoch,
it,
whenever
right?
you're
You're
ready.
right. All right, when the timer gets going.
All right. If you could only grow one tomato variety for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Cherokee purple.
What tomato variety best represents your personality?
Sun gold.
What is one gardening rule you love breaking?
Only plant a couple of seeds per cell. Cram them in. Put 100 seeds in there.
Finish this sentence. I knew I was officially a gardener when?
I was addicted to seed catalogs, and I just bought way too many.
Most difficult tomato variety you've ever grown?
Green zebra. It always diseases on me.
Oh,
that's good to know. Who is your biggest gardening inspiration?
My grandfather, Walter Gibbs.
Most valuable lesson gardening has taught you?
Slow down, listen to the birds, enjoy the journey, don't get so hung up on the destination.
I love that. Worst gardening advice you've ever received?
Chop all the tops off your sweet peppers.
I got to pick your brain more about that one. But
sure.
We've got a couple more. You got 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10 too. We got some thinkers on you tonight.
What's
for
the
sure.
worst pest you've ever dealt with in your garden?
Whitefly in Raleigh.
Ooh.
Wow, yeah. And the one gardening tool you can't live without?
Long-handled 3-tine cultivator.
Oh yeah,
it feels good in my hand. I just love it.
Okay.
All right. Excellent.
Nice.
Excellent.
All great answers. Thank you so much. You both were great sports, and it's always fun to, rapid fire some questions.
Yeah, I get a sense we're both kind of the long answer types, nuanced long answers. So it's kind of like, well, it's a short answer. Like, oh man, we got to do this.
You know what? It opens up for a bigger conversation throughout the next hour or so. So that's what I love about it.
I've begun doing my weekly 45-minute Instagram lives every Friday, and my favorite part are the questions that people just pop in at me because it's like a weekly lightning round. I never know what's coming at me. I have to come up with something, and every now and then I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm going to research that. Send me your email. I will get back to you.
Yeah, people throw some good ones at you every now and then.
Well, when you were answering some of your answers, I thought of some more things. I was like, oh yeah, I wish I would have said this. I wish I would have said that.
Well, and I answered all of yours in my head. Hardest thing to grow I had is Lysianthus, the flower.
Yeah, those are beautiful. What's so difficult about them?
The seeds are like dust. They take a long time to germinate, and the seedlings are just so fragile. You just got to really baby them along.
If I already have trouble with things like oregano and thyme or strawberries, I can only imagine the Lysianthus. I've never seen the seeds before, but they're, I assume, even smaller.
Who has? I'm a chemist. We studied a lot of things that we don't know if they exist or not. Lysianthus can't even be pronounced, never mind seen. So there you go.
Yeah.
Right on. Let's see here. Actually, let me jump in real quick. I know I got a question that came in here. David from Bowtie Life in the Garden asks, Craig, how do you decide which heirloom varieties are worth preserving long term when you grow so many each season?
It's a fantastic question. So I've been growing heirloom tomatoes and building my collection since 1986. So I've tried about 4,000 different tomatoes. Some of them have lost their viability. I just haven't gone back to them again. One of the things I like to do is make sure a seed company somewhere has it, or a seed bank. That way I know it won't go extinct in my possession. But as I'm 70, to answer your question, Mark, and as I garden more and more, I include both more of my favorites in our garden because my wife and I love to eat them, but also like to do wild experiments and R&D in my garden each year. So I'm kind of 50-50 split between research and my favorites. And I'm not sure how I get to there from where we started, but yes, I like to give long answers.
Well, and kind of following up on that is when we had interviewed you last year, and we were talking about the lifespan of tomato seeds, I think you mentioned that at about 14 years, the viability drops off. And I've been trying some old seeds and noticing that's just about right. It's like up until then, they're still pretty good, even without a lot of careful storage. I mean, I'm certainly not storing my things like you are. But
I'm not storing them very carefully.
There's a radical drop off after a certain point, and it's almost like you can keep them for so long out of the garden, but then you got to get back into the soil and regrow them again to get that vitality.
And interestingly, the older seeds are more prone to what we call helmet head, where they germinate, but that little seed coat adheres.
Oh, yeah.
You have to spray them. You have to get your tweezers out. You have to do surgery.
Now, I've been wondering about that. Is that because of the age? They just kind of get stale in a way, and they just, like something gets stale and it just kind of it gets more like
vigor. Yeah, they lose a bit of vigor.
Yeah.
Now you can baby them into be perfectly fine plants.
Instead of like getting crisp and dry, they just kind of get more, tough in a way.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of what I've been thinking.
So earlier on, when we started these episodes of the Green Room, we actually got to interview Joe Gardner, and I was actually at that time I was catching up on Growing a Greener World, and I actually saw your episode of Epic Tomatoes. So I have two questions. One, tell us about the tomato parties. How do I get an invite? And two, your driveway. Starting like 2,000 tomato plants on your driveway. I was blown away when I saw that. That's crazy. Tell us a little bit about.
So that was when we lived in Raleigh, and that was, I think we filmed that in 2016. That was a lot of fun. So now that we're in Hendersonville, it's not a driveway, it's a backyard. And instead of 80-20 containers to straw bales, it's about 70-30 straw bales to containers. But I'll start with your first question. Alas, the tomato parties were a thing until they became too much of a thing. And when I realized I was supplying about 80% of the tomatoes for the tasting, leaving very little. So people love to depend on you over time if you do something for them. And that dependency created at year 10, Sue and I said, well, it was fun. Thanks, everybody. We're done. And if anyone else wants to continue the Tomato Paloozas, just send us an invite and we'll go. I've done smaller scale tastings. If you get to do a midsummer event, a talk, do a 5 or 10 variety mini tomato tasting at the end of your talk, and you can just blow people away because most of them would not have tasted a tomato that wasn't red. And if you can get them a variety, start talking to them about nuances. Is this one acidic? Is this one tart? Is this one sweet? Great way. I mean, it's another way to build community through food and tasting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, people love people love the idea of a tasting too, because then everybody's an expert. Everybody can say what their experience is of the tomato, and I think it's a great way it's a low bar to get people in and talking to each other.
It is. Yeah, and what people don't realize is I'm sorry, go ahead, and then I'll jump back in.
No, go ahead.
Everybody's palates are slightly different. So you can be at a tasting, and I've been at them, where you'll have 2 tomatoes and somebody will say, this is the best tomato. And the other person will say, no, I don't like that very much. This is the best tomato. And they're both right, because to their palate, their expectation, their way they looked at the color and made an assessment on what the tomato was going to taste like. Now, Joe Lampel and I did a blind tasting of 20 varieties, and I had never done one in my entire life. That was one of the most fascinating things. And the pressure, because I knew Cherokee Purple was in the tasting. I'm thinking, what if in a blind tasting, I come out and say, oh, that's a terrible tomato. Joe and I both gave it a 9 out of 10. And that was kind of validating that even blind with 20 varieties, we loved it. And then they threw in a peach to really screw us up. Because we were getting our eyes closed, we're blindfolded, and all of a sudden we get a piece of peach in our mouth. We're like, wow, what was that?
Yeah, that throws you off for sure.
Throws you totally off.
Now, there's plenty of tomatoes called garden peach, Wapsipinicon peach, olive orange peach, but this is a real peach.
This is a real peach.
Oh, God. Okay.
Now, the big yellow-red ones, like pineapple, ruby gold, they are the closest to tasting like a peach of any tomato I've tasted. They have the solidity, the texture, the sweetness of a peach, which I don't care for that much. So I don't go for the big bicolors. They're just too sweet for my palate. I need to be zinged a little bit.
A little more of an acid man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I love it. That's
I told
great.
you I'm 7, 8. No, never.
That's
But yeah, I do like. I like balance and intensity. So not too much of any one thing, but a little bit of everything that comes in at different times.
I was surprised to hear you say of all the heirlooms, you picked a hybrid as your favorite.
It was it wasn't the favorite. There was an exact wording of that made me.
Oh, I see. What was your question, Natalie, in terms of the tomato?
Is it the one I'd eat for the rest of my life?
Well, maybe
if there was one variety you can grow, I think, for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I think it was
that's
that.
one tomato. Yeah, if you could grow one for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Because there's literally nothing that tastes like it. It's just, and no one has been able to replicate that flavor in a slicing or a cherry tomato. So it's, I mean, people come into your yard and take a bite, and you could just take pictures of their faces, and you could fill a photograph book with all of their wow, you know. It's just amazing.
Hey, Craig, because you understand tomato genetics so well, and since we're on the subject of Sun Gold, a hybrid, this is something I've always wondered about. The process of creating a hybrid, there's an inbreeding, is that true, where a certain line is crossed with itself? I've always thought that creates a very weak, genetically weak tomato. How does this work in terms of creating inbreeding lines and crossing them? More about that.
So to create a hybrid, the Japanese company that developed Sun Gold keeps secret the mom and the dad.
Okay.
So they take pollen from dad, they apply it to the flowers from mom, and the seeds that form and the tomatoes that form are the ones that end up in the packet. So they've never been grown before. That's why they're pricier, because hybrids, every seed is from a handmade cross. Tomatoes, because they're perfect flowered, meaning you've got male and female on the flower, and the pollination happens as the flower opens. You don't get inbreeding depression like you do with crops like corn and squash. So that's why we can have a tomato like Cherokee Purple that's been around since the 1880s, and it's just as vigorous and productive as in the 1880s. So the whole inbreeding depression thing is a little bit misunderstood, because it does depend on the type of crops and the type of pollination mechanism. But you mentioned Sun Gold. One of my projects is I took Captain Lucky, which if you haven't grown it, you have to, because it is the Sun Gold of big slicing tomato heirloom. And I crossed it with Sun Gold because I thought, what happens if you take two tomatoes that almost make you insane with quality? Will you go completely crazy with that? The hybrid was very, very, very good. But now I've gotten a whole bunch of people all over the world to grow out save seed, because who knows what we're going to get? Who knows what color it will be? Who knows what leaf shape it will be? So we're trying to see what happens. And this is the kind of research I love to do, is start a project and then put it out there and let hundreds of people tell me, have the fun of participating, and then let me know. And if they find something great, they'll get to name it. Then we'll have to stabilize it and send it to a seed company to sell. So it's like citizen science. We all get to take part in creating new things.
And Craig, when you do a cross like that, are you doing it both ways? Are you taking pollen from Sun Gold and putting it on the stigmas of Captain Lucky, and then taking pollen from Captain Lucky and on the stigmas of Sun Gold?
No, I do it one way, and I use the plant that easily shows a recessive trait as the receptor, because recessive traits will show themselves easily. So if I'll just do this quickly. So you get your pollen from Sun Gold, which is regular toothy leafed. You're applying it to Captain Lucky, which is smooth potato leafed. A tomato forms, you save the seeds and grow it. And if that seedling is regular leaf, you're cross took, because it's showing the dominant trait from dad. If the seedling is potato leaf, the cross did not take, because it's just showing. And we did that all through the dwarf project, is we used the dwarf as the mom, because if your crosses come out indeterminate, the cross took. If they're dwarf, the cross. So these are just, I'm like Gregor Mendel. He did peas, I do tomatoes. I sit in my garden, I talk to them, I think of these crazy things to do, but you can do that at 70. You can just play in the garden.
Very cool.
I love it. We obviously we got the tomato expert with us here, so all of our audience questions are coming in here. Serena's asking Craig, what is the best thing to give tomato plants if I run out of compost or worm castings come July?
Get some fish emulsion. You could use, if you are going organic, use an Espoma product like Plant Tone, Tomato Tone. Look for a nice balance of the three numbers: nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and your plant will be happy with that. Micronutrients, what's great about what you're doing with the worm castings and the compost is you're getting a good dose of micronutrients as well. So you're building the soil, you're going to have very happy plants with that. But something like a fish emulsion will make the plants equally happy at that point.
Excellent. Let me burn another question here too from Suburban Homesteader. What do you think of pink accordion tomatoes or Russian bread and salt tomatoes?
So the accordion types of tomatoes are actually a look into what tomatoes look like when they came over from Europe to America in the mid-1800s. They were creased, they were wrinkled, they were kind of ugly, they were somewhat hollow, which makes them nice stuffing tomatoes. So I think they're really attractive. They're a link to history. I would use them more as a stuffing tomato than a slicing tomato, because you're not going to get much of a slice. Never heard of Russian bread and salt tomatoes. But this brings up a good point. We are seeing the numbers of different varieties of tomatoes absolutely explode as people mine friends in different countries for the varieties that are sold there. As nuts like me are creating new ones, as heirlooms keep getting grown. So, if I were to look at Instagram on what people are growing, I don't know 3/4 of what's being grown anymore. I tend to always go back to Ferris wheel, Brandywine, Lillian's Yellow. We all do. What are the varieties we grew when we fell in love with a hobby? And those will always be favorites that are like, warm cup of tea when you're cold. They're the favorites you return to for comfort. I know this. I know how it grows. I know how it tastes. I know I'm going to love it.
Mine's the pineapple tomato. One of my first favorites. So I go back to that a lot.
Yeah. I need to send you Lucky Cross, because it looks like pineapple, but it tastes like Brandywine.
Wow.
Because it was bred. The bees took Brandywine pollen when that variety, and I was just the lucky guy that found it and stabilized it. So drop me an email, Enoch, and I'll send you some seeds.
Yeah. We'll have to do that. I'd love to grow some.
Wow. Craig, what would you, if somebody like me, for example, has a kind of a mental barrier toward breeding? Like I've been gardening for a long time, and I've always thought I should do some breeding. And and I even read a little bit of Carol Depp's book, but I never actually gotten down to do it. What's the easiest crop, and what's the best starting strategy?
You know, because you can use a paintbrush with pollen, it could be things like squash or melons are pretty easy, but you just have to make sure you close up the female flower before it opens so that the pollen from the male doesn't get in. Tomatoes are not difficult if you've got a steady hand and tweezers and you just want to have fun. So, but you have to realize 25% are probably going to succeed and 75% are going to fail. It's what is the maturity of the flower when you pull off the anthers, and can you reapply the pollen to that 3 or 4 days a row before the little pistil dries up, meaning nothing probably happened, or you get the blossom just dropping off. It's a pursuit of patience and curiosity. It's not for everyone. When I do my Instagram lives each year, I do a tomato pollination demo. So I think tomatoes are relatively easy. I think squash, melons, cucumbers are probably relatively easy because you are transferring pollen from the male to the female flower. If it gets you, it really gets you, and you find that you want to start crossing everything in your garden together. So it's really,
it's an addiction.
Yeah, it becomes an addiction. But you could put 50 gardeners in a room. Some are going to love soil science, and some are going to love the different things you feed your plants. Some are going to love varieties. Some are going to love stories, history. How do you support your tomatoes? And you need a little bit of it all, but you're not going to delve super deep into more than a couple of them because there's just not enough time in the day to.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I used to do beekeeping, and eventually I came to the realization it's like I was kind of a vegetable farmer at that point. It's like I can't do both because the peak bee time is the spring and the peak planting time is the spring, and they would just collide every year. And either I was taking good care of the bees and I wasn't taking care of the vegetables, or the other way around. And eventually I was like, all right, I'm gonna let somebody else do beekeeping. I've enjoyed doing it. I'm glad I know about it. But now I just focus on vegetables. So maybe it's like that with breeding too. Some people, you just have to devote the time to it and dedicate the time.
Yeah.
How long did you beekeep for, Mark?
I did about 4 years.
Oh, cool.
Oh, it was utterly fascinating. It is utterly fascinating. It's just a very worthy hobby. And of course, the end product's great too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was actually going to ask you, so we were talking earlier about, educating people and inspiring people to also share the passion of gardening and grow the community and share the craft with a newer generation. So you work a lot with kids, you said, and just, in terms of gardening, you tell us about that. You teach kids, I guess.
I want the people who come to my talk to teach the kids, but I will be teaching Eli. So what I do is I try to, when I get invited to do talks, that's kind of my outreach. And locally, I've done tomato tastings in Hendersonville. I'll invite people into my garden. They have to see it, touch it, taste it to really get it, because this is where I'm going to disagree with you, Mark. I think gardening is easy. It's just all about your expectations. So it's easy to fall in love with. It's easy to do the individual steps. I think some of the hard things about it are stamina, continuous attention to detail, taking pictures of things when you should be, and then labeling those pictures so you don't forget what's on every one of those pictures you took. So it's all part of that journey that I talked about in the beginning, where you're always going to have problems. And as our climate does crazy things to us, gardeners have to be thinking gardeners that are always reacting to what the plants are telling us. I think the least successful gardener will be getting Crockett's Victory Garden, reading it, saying, oh, this is all the stuff I need to do on all the different days. And they'll probably end up having everything eaten up or died or diseased. You start off with your seeds and then you feel your way through each day. And that's what makes it the best hobby. It's always something. So I don't like to call people garden experts. We're just experienced gardeners. And we're And it's like two asymptotes. We approach expertise, but we never quite get there because there's always going to be something to learn that's going to prevent us from
Absolutely.
touching.
Yeah, I like that. I like that approach. Really,
got
I mean,
something?
I feel like I'm just some ways I was like I'm just starting to learn things now. Like
Yes.
you know, it's just like that phrase. I was this many years old when I was today many years old when I learned X, Y, or Z. There's just so many things still. And I think part of it is you have to deepen your approach to begin to even see certain things. I mean, it's just a multi-level reality, very complicated reality.
It's an onion. It's an onion that the layers peel away, and you keep getting deeper and deeper.
Unlimited layers.
Unlimited layers. It's so
and 40-year experienced gardeners can screw up incredibly well. Because you get a little bit lazy. So I've got all my seed cells on the ground, and I knew they were kind of floppy, but I picked them up anyway. And of course they flipped. So 50 tomato varieties, 20 seedlings each, just went over in a heap. And at first I sat down and I thought, maybe I can get them all back in the cell that they were in. And I'm like, no. And I just put them in the wheelbarrow, and I had enough seeds to start again. 10 years ago, I would have lost a week of sleep over that.
Yeah.
So you mellow as time goes on because you've been through the war, and you know that if the deer come and eat a half a dozen of your plants, well, gardeners are such optimists because, as you said, we always come back and we do it the next year. There's always next year to do something that doesn't work exactly the way you want it to do this year. And next year it won't either, but it will be a different problem.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Let's see here. We're getting tons of questions coming in. Everybody's got tons of tomato questions here, which is just really awesome. Everybody, thank you so much for everybody in the audience right now. All of your just really awesome questions popping in. We'll try to get to as many of them as we can for sure. But Adam was asking here, Craig, which heirloom hybrid loom is your favorite and or better performing than the parent plants?
Yeah, I was just told about the high looms the other day, and my first question about it, and this is not to make enemies at Johnny Selected Seeds, who is selling them, or anybody else. I was thinking, why? If I can get 30 pounds of Cherokee Purple off a plant and their beautiful smooth fruit, why do I need to pay $25 for 10 or 15 seeds to get the same thing? Now, if disease tolerance has been bred in and it gets people an extra couple of weeks of harvest, maybe that's the secret to it. But my view on this is there are too many heirlooms that need being taken care of. So the only hybrids I allow into my garden are sun gold because it's unique, and the ones I create, but not to grow the hybrid so much as to see what comes. So I'm an open pollinated guy. I give away tons of seed. It's just the way I am. I feel like you just need to spread these around to get as many people growing them as they can. But any gardener should choose whatever they see that strikes their fancy. I will never tell somebody how to grow something or what to grow. All I will do is share what I grow and how I do it, and let them decide, yeah, this may work, or no, I don't like that. I'm going to keep doing it my way.
That's a great garden tip and I think it's something you evolve into, because growing what you like, because when I started, I was growing as a CSA gardener at the beginning, and I just felt like I had to grow everything in the seed catalog, every single thing. And there was a certain zest to it. It's like, I just want to know, like, what is this? What is this? What is, one of my famous stories is I was using this cookbook that had a recipe for rutabaga pie, which I served to my farm partner, her partner, and my wife and myself. We had dinner at the end of the season, and I was so proud of rutabaga pie. It's like, oh my God, look at this. I can make a pie out of anything. This is awesome. And it totally flopped. Everybody hated it. That was a terrible dessert. And it was just one of those moments of like, all right, we're not doing rutabagas anymore. That's off the list forever.
How about Mangelwurzels? Have you ever heard of those? Those are like
I have heard of them. Yeah, those are the sugar beets, right? The big sugar.
Yeah, the big sugar beet. We used to have a restaurant in Raleigh that used to do tomato-themed dinners every summer, and they would do a half a dozen of them. And I was really lucky because my wife and I get to sit there and 3 times during the meal tell people what they were eating. And his big challenge was making the tomato dessert because he made every course.
Oh, yeah.
Featured our tomatoes, and he had some spectacular failures. One of them tasted like the weirdest garlic bread, and it's like, this is not dessert.
Oh, God.
But the one he settled on was a sun gold panna cotta. It's one of the best desserts I've ever had in my entire life. So it can be done.
Wow.
Very creative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick here, I do want to say we have a comment in here or a question from Dale Wayne. Says, is Craig published? I'm going to say yes. Look at this. We got Craig is published.
Yeah,
We're talking all about epic tomatoes. Yes, definitely get down below in the description and find a way to get a copy of this great book here too, if you want. But yeah, I had to get in that real quick here.
Thank you, my friend. That was very nice.
Well, it's such a great book too. It's not a nerdy book at all. It's not. Your upcoming one sounds like more of a nerd's book, but this one is so fun. The visuals are so exciting. Yeah. Like giant full-page sexy pictures of. So it's a really fun book. I loved it.
All for my garden, and the pressure, because Story, which is a really good publisher. So if we send the photographer out to your house next Friday, all 80 varieties are going to be ripe, right?
Oh my God.
I know.
So the biggest stressor of that book was getting tomatoes. And it took 2 years to get those pictures, and me driving truckloads of tomatoes to Virginia to put them on a floor. It was fun. I don't think I'd want to write a book of that scope again, just because you work on it, and you want to be proud of it, and so you do your best to make sure. Story hasn't done a remake of it yet, so that's a good sign.
It's still relevant.
Yeah, it's still relevant, and it's still selling, which is a good thing.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that we ended up getting you on our book club back then too, to finally give me a reason to make sure I went and got this, because I'd been staring at it on the bookshelf for probably a few years before, and I was like, I really want to get that book. And then finally, just it's so worth it. So definitely,
you guys are very kind. Thank you.
If you guys haven't gotten a copy of this book, it's definitely a must-have on your garden bookshelf for sure.
So how many tomato varieties would you say you've grown overall? How many varieties total?
About 4,000.
Wow. 4,000. That is an impressive number. I've only grown like 10.
The bizarre thing is I could probably tell you for each one of them what the leaf shape was, the growth habit, and
oh my gosh,
tasted like. So I still have pretty much a photographic gardening memory. Now that crazy at some point. But.
Next time you're here, I know what your lightning round questions are going to be.
For sure.
This whole love of anthocyanin varieties because they look cool. I haven't found very many. Well, I haven't found any anthocyanin. The black purple coloring on the shoulder where the sun hits the fruit. I think Oregon P2, indigo roses maybe. I just don't like the flavor of any of them yet, and I'm sure there will be some. But that anthocyanin coloring, I think, imparts some kind of a little bit of a bitterness to them. But they're new, and they're hot right now. Breeders are just jumping out of their socks to keep creating them because people want them in their garden because they look so cool.
Yeah.
Greg, here's a question. When you say you remember, like, my analogy to that is kind of the going to a couple of wine tasting classes and being introduced to some vocabulary that then helped me to taste the thing. I'd be like, I would drink a wine and be like, oh, that's good, or I like it, or I don't like it. That was kind of my limit. And then when they finally said, oh, all right, we have acidity, we have balance, we have tannins, we have all these kind of things, like, oh yeah, now I get that. So, obviously there's sweet and sour, right, that are relevant in tomato world. What other words would you give us to describe tomato taste that would be important to grab onto?
Good question.
That is a good question. So you have to start with the basis that tomatoes are all equally acidic, despite the variety. And so this is based on work that the USDA did back in the 1960s, where they tested 500 varieties of tomatoes, all different size, shapes, and colors. The pH range was about minuscule. And so when we taste a tomato that tastes acidic, it has a very low sugar content to mask the acidity. So it's all about the genetics and how the different tomato varieties develops or doesn't develop sugar. But I think fullness, intensity is a biggie. Lingering, this goes to your wine question. So if you take a bite of a Lillian's Yellow or a brandy wine, the flavor will probably linger in your mouth for minutes. And there are other tomatoes you take a taste of, and that flavor is probably gone within 5 or 10 seconds. If you go to like Trader Joe or somewhere and get some of the little cherry tomato things that are coming in, they're really pretty. A lot of them have not a whole lot of flavor to them, but that's not the point. The point is it's off season. You want to put something prettier in your salad. Good. We got some really interesting comments coming in. I'm sure there are really good anthocyanin ones. They just haven't found their way to my garden. So I think you get tomatoes on the sweet end, and I'm talking sugary sweet, candy sweet, peachy sweet, fruity sweet. But your overall impression, and if you don't like really sweet things, it may be too much for you. You may go, "Whoa, that sweetness overrides everything." On the other end, you get the acidity, low sugar tomatoes, which taste acidic, which almost tingle your tongue. So a lot of the old red beefsteaks, green zebra is actually a very tart tasting tomato. So the first thing you notice is your tongue almost burns or tingles because that acidity just attacks it. There are other flavors involved, but then there's the fullness. And I don't believe that cherry purple has a smoky flavor. So some people have come up just because tomatoes look a certain way, and they've coined different terms that I don't think exist. But again, we eat with our eyes. When we see a dusky, dark, rose-colored tomato, we may think, "Wow, that looks really smoky," and maybe you really like that. So it's that blind tasting thing again. You got to kind of wipe your slate clean of expectations, have somebody put on the blindfold, and then educate your palate or re-educate your palate. But it's not, so wine, you have buttery, you have oaky, you have raspberries, blackberries, plums. I like wine, by the way, as you can tell. I'm quite a collector of it. Tomatoes, not quite that much. And really it comes down to, do I love this tomato or not? Do I just want it in a caprese salad because it's so good I don't want to put anything else on it? Or is this my cheeseburger tomato? Or is this my grilled cheese tomato? Or, is it like a main player? Is it the star? Or is it okay to play second fiddle and just add a little moistness and juiciness? And see, look at where you've taken me. Now I'm hungry.
That's interesting because you're taking it down a functional definition, and I'll give my little tomato story.
Yeah.
Some years ago, a couple years ago, I was looking through the Baker Creek catalog and saw Evil Olive, and I'm like, oh, the name for, okay, so there's the name too, right? The different name. Like, for example, I'm doing a tomato sale at our school, and I'm selling Dancing with Smurfs. I don't care how it tastes like. Every kid's going to want a Dancing with Smurfs. So, okay, that's the name. So I saw Evil Olive. I'm like, this is too good. I can't pass up Evil Olive. Yeah. So I get it, and it's, grow it, and it's abundant. It like puts out so many tomatoes. I'm like, this is awesome. And I take a bite of it, and I'm like, this tastes like crud. I don't like this at all. This is no good. But because it was tough, it was hard to chew it out of thick skin. It wasn't what I was expecting. But then I realized a little later on in the season, I'm like, what am I going to do with all these Evil Olives? Well, I quartered them up, throw them in a grilling basket, put some olive oil on them, and they hold their shape under grilling. And then they were awesome. So I was like, oh, okay, I got my grilled tomato now. I'm not going to put it in a salad. It's way too tough. But I'm going to put it on the grill. And now I found the function for that tomato.
What I do with those types of tomatoes, Johnny sells a series, I forget the names of them, Fred Hempel bred them, but they're little tomatoes of different colors that have stripes on them. Might be the Tiger series. They have slightly tough skins. They're not the greatest thing to eat fresh, but cutting them in half, drizzling with a little olive oil, salt, pepper, and putting them in a low oven for about 2.5 hours, where you're almost making sun-dried tomatoes, but they're oven roasted tomatoes. So you're intensifying the flavor 50-fold. then they're great for pizzas and all of those types of things. So every tomato does have a purpose. If you don't like to eat it, roast it in a sauce, make sauce out of it. Just, dilute its not great flavors with other tomatoes, and it won't be a problem with it.
All right, right on. I know
So-
again. Oh, go ahead.
9:25
You
here.
go ahead, Natalie.
I shouldn't be hungry, but I am. Go ahead,
I was
Natalie.
going to say, Mark, tell us more about some of the fun varieties you've got growing on for the kids.
Well, we have to do certain. I mean, we have to. I am selling them to the parents, but I'm sort of marketing to the kids as well. It's like once some of the names, and some of the names just capture me too. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to try that. I actually have grown Dancing with Smurfs, and I did really like it. One thing that's really cool about it is like it's got almost like a bikini line after a day in the sun, because if you pull off the star-shaped calyx, it'll get mostly all black and blue, but then when you pull off the star-shaped calyx, there's like a red star that's on the top. It's really cool. So that would be the one thing that I would feature on that one. That's a great tomato. I mean, we have to have sun gold because a gajillion people want that one. That's my name. And then something like a Sweet Million or a Sweetie or something, red cherries. So we got to have all the cherries. I always try to just do a series. I'm, doing green zebra, some salad style sized tomatoes, obviously some big slicers. I do the Brandywine. I'm doing the Cherokee purple. Nod to Craig there. Thank you for giving that to us. Berkeley tie-dye, some fun things. Some of these things, I have grown over the past. Like I remember getting really excited about Brad's Atomic tomato from Baker Creek. And then again, it's like, oh man, that cover was airbrushed or something. This tomato doesn't look anything like the cover looked like. So there's some disappointments along the way. Some of the colorful ones don't quite have the colors you expected, et cetera, et cetera. But a lot of different cherries, a couple of little bumblebees, the Dancing with Smurfs, one or two paste tomatoes. I usually do Amish paste because I think that's a great one. An assortment.
Nice.
Yeah.
We mentioned green zebra. It is so prone to fusarium wilt, septorial leaf spot, and early blight when I grew it in Raleigh, and I just couldn't grow it. And everybody grows. So you won't necessarily succeed with every variety in your garden because your area's diseases and disease flow and your soil will affect these tomatoes different ways. So that's another learning. As you grow lots and lots of tomatoes, you'll find those that are like machines and those that just don't like your climate, your area.
We have it so easy out in Portland. I mean, we have beautiful dry summers with very low humidity. So it's easy for us. We don't have a huge disease pressure. In a normal year, our pressure on some of the fungal diseases and stuff is very low, and we don't have a huge number of insect pests either. We don't have tomato hornworm.
Wow. Want some?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I'll send you some.
No, keep them. You can keep them.
I mean, it looked cool, but I think it would be only like the first or second one that would look cool. I think when you're picking them off by the hundreds, they don't look so cool anymore.
I had not a single one last year. So again, insect travel patterns, and it could be Hurricane Helene that came through, disturbed the larva or the eggs or whatever, and we had not a single one last year.
Wow.
It's never happened to me before.
All right, here, let me jump in here. I know again too, we got tons of questions. We're not even gonna be able to get to every one of them, but let's try to get some in here real quick. We got Robin Gardens asking, what is your favorite yellow tomato? Favorite flavored yellow tomato so far? Dr. Weich's yellow tops my list.
Yeah, so I would actually consider Dr. Weich's a pale orange. My favorite absolute bright yellow by far is Lillian's yellow heirloom. Just after Epic Tomatoes came out, I got to be on Lynn Rosetto's Casper's Splendid Table. And her last question to me, I'm going to put you on a desert island. You can only take 3 tomatoes with you. And it was Sun Gold, Cherokee Purple, and Lillian's yellow heirloom.
Oh, man,
It is that delicious. It is
Mhm.
cantankerous. It is late. It is gnarly looking. But man, is it good. And that probably hails from the late 1800s in Tennessee. So it's a real old variety.
See, I don't think our guests were expecting that kind of clapback, though. They're like, I'm going to tell you my favorite yellow, Dr. White's, and you're like, oh, no, that's pale orange.
Well, I am such a stickler.
They don't know what they're up against here, Craig.
I looked through
They
the
don't
Seed
even
Savers
know the
Exchange.
scope of your tomato understanding.
I looked through the Seed Savers yearbook, and there are tons of tomatoes are misplaced. They're just miscolored, and that's another thing. The more tomatoes you grow, you start understanding, what's red, what's pink, what's purple, what's brown. The whole black thing, which is actually misused a lot. Orange, yellow, white, ivory, swirled stripes. And the greens, of course, but are they yellow skin greens or clear skin greens? So
these are the things that keep Craig LeHoullier up at night, but probably not the rest of us.
That's right.
Peeling skins off my tomato so I can tell what color it is. Because the color of a tomato is really the interaction of the flesh with the skin. And the two options for skin are clear and yellow. So you double the number of potential tomato colors by that skin versus flesh interaction. And it's, but I love Dr. Witch. I first grew that tomato back. J.D. Green, the same guy who sent me Cherokee Purple, sent me Dr. Witch's Yellow back in 1990. And I introduced that to the Seed Savers Exchange and a bunch of seed catalogs. So a lot of tomatoes just kind of came through me because when I got them, the best thing to do is just shoot them out there. Get them out there as much as you can. So seed companies will start carrying them.
Right on. Interesting question here from
you reproduce some of the old letters of people sending you tomatoes and describing them, and it just that brought back just a flood of associative memories of like what it was to write away, like as a kid, either like write away for stamps or write away for coin collection or kind of that. I was like how it worked as a kid, so it's like writing away to tomatoes, and somebody sends you this beautiful handwritten in their penmanship, handwritten letter back with a little package of tomatoes. I mean, what's the coolest letter you ever got? What's the coolest?
Oh, they were all wonderful. But so you're triggering memory because somewhere in a box in my office, I have every letter of every person who has sent me every seed. Wow. And when I first joined the Seed Savers Exchange, there was no electronic anything. So everybody would get the yearbook, sit down, write a letter, and I would get 1,000 to 1,500 letters every spring. And I would answer everyone and send them their seeds back. That was a special time in history that just won't be repeated. That was what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's got to be great.
Those letters are beautiful. The Anna Russian letter is on onion skin paper that's so fragile. And, here's a tomato that a Russian immigrant gave my grandfather, Kenneth Wilcox, on a ferry in the 1940s, and he was from Russia. Here you are. You feel like you got everybody's treasures in your possession, and it makes you feel so vulnerable. You must grow them.
Yeah.
You hope you like them.
Right.
You must
honor.
distribute them.
You want to honor it. That's very
cool.
Yeah.
Honor it.
Exactly.
I saw an interesting question pop up there about.
I was going to ask you about this because again, this was kind of a real interesting thing. A couple of years ago, I believe. In fact, I tried to get one of the scientists who developed this tomato to come on the show, and they backed out on me the last minute. I think it was because they were getting a lot of flack coming back out of it from the States here and everything. But what happened to the GMO purple Snapdragon tomato? Any current info? Have you ever checked that out? Looked into what they were doing or anything like that with this interesting, again, too, we look at genetically modified GE things and all that. We're talking about like putting some weird things together to kind of try to make these things for them. But this was kind of an interesting one because they were just kind of taking the color out of a Snapdragon tomato and trying to darken up the tomatoes for, again, I think the anthocyanins and things like that as well too.
Yeah. Well, it was GE, and it's open pollinated, which makes it really interesting. So if you grow it and the bees visit that plant and then they visit another tomato and you're saving seeds from that, you're a seed saver, you've now got GE seeds in your Cherokee Purple. So when I give talks, there are Well, there are three ways I can get into trouble.
Yeah.
If people start talking about climate change, if people start talking about GMOs and GEs, and
Yep.
people start talking about things like Roundup. And that's where I have to
Yeah.
pull out my, well, I'm a gardener. I don't get preachy.
Yeah.
We're all stewards of this earth. You
Exactly.
do the research and use what you feel like you need to use or wish to use. As far as that tomato, I think Baker Creek may have gotten themselves in trouble by putting on their cover, claiming we are not a GE company, but yet look at this wonderful new GE tomato that they had to retract. So it is interesting that I haven't seen it talked about, shown, photographed anywhere in quite a while now. So your guess
Yeah,
is
that was the kind of thing I was even wondering myself too, is because it was like big. They were trying to really get this out there and all of that. And I remember even looking at when they were selling the seeds supposedly to the public and everything, they were sold out just like that. And you couldn't get, and so you couldn't really get a hold of any. And I just wondered, did they really even get out there? Is because I don't hear anybody talk about them. Nobody growing them. Nobody showing off the results of their grows or anything like that. I've just seen zero about it, really, in the long run.
Yeah, I think we as humans can do a lot of things. Scientists can do a lot of things, but we don't often think through the ramifications of what we create. We put them out there. Social networking is a perfect example of that. Here's this Facebook, here's Instagram, here's all of this stuff. Go at it without thinking of what are the possible downstream issues that can arise from this. I think there may be a time when GEs do become common, but I think we have to have guardrails up. Remember the soybean situation with Monsanto. Can Monsanto come and sue you if you inadvertently grow a tomato that has your GE gene in it? We need to think it through. And what I don't trust, and I'm a scientist, I'm a PhD chemist, I don't trust it when a drug company funds the studies for its drugs.
Right.
I don't trust it when companies fund the studies for GEs. It has to be an independent entity.
Yeah.
And the argument to that is, but they don't have the money. Like, well, that's no good excuse. That's not a good excuse.
And then I would also link that independent study just to being the regular gardeners like you and I coming out and saying something like, oh, this is what I got from this, or this is, what the result of that was. And again, like I said, I just haven't seen anything. So I don't really trust necessarily whether or not that tomato really even exists.
No. Now
you don't even know. You don't even know, do you, right?
Research project. I better go sleuthing about for you.
Yeah. It was just a really interesting one there for sure. Let's see here. I got another one real quick here. Again, there's so many of these questions. I'm so sorry, everybody, if we don't get to all of your questions here for sure. Where was one here I was seeing in? Oh boy, there's a lot. Let's find. Here I am, not even prepared. I'm not even prepared.
Not overwhelming myself. If people don't get their question asked, nctomatoman@gmail.com. You can, shoot me an email. I might not get to all of them immediately, but I like to.
Definitely, Wickershire for sure. You got a lot of great questions in here for sure, and I'm not going to be able to get to them all. Definitely get that questions off to Craig there for sure. Absolutely. I will say though, Kelpie here, I know she is huge in growing tomatoes. She probably competes with you in the amount of varieties of tomatoes that she grows for sure. I know this. But she asked, what's your favorite tomato from the Dwarf Tomato Project?
You're asking me to choose amongst my 169 children. Right. The horrors. I love Dwarf Sweet Sue. I named it after my wife, not realizing it was going to be perhaps my favorite. I love Rosella Purple. I love Dwarf Emerald Giant. So there's 3 of the 169. I love Dwarf Mr. Snow. So there's 4 different colors for you. But and there are some I don't love, but they filled a niche. And some of the people in our project did love them. So they may have done better in their climate than mine when I tested it. So, the 4 that the people in Alaska worked on, Iditarod Red, Sleeping Lady, Yukon Question, Arctic Rose, they're great because they're so early. They'll never be a 10 out of 10, but man, they ripen in a flash. So there's a little something for everyone. And that's what I hope. I don't want the book to be geeky to the point it will turn people off. I want it to be epic tomato-like, and it's going to be conversational. Come on into my garden, I'm going to tell you about this project we're doing. So I'm going to hit them with genetics before they even know they read about genetics. And then they're going to go, oh, wow, I know a little about that now. We were just having coffee.
That's awesome.
Excellent. Let's see here. Get another question in real quick here. Let's see. The war on suckers, to remove or not to remove? This is the question.
The answer is whatever you want to do with them, because they're not harmful. They make a plant very tall. Well, they make a plant very wide and very complex. If you cage, let them go. Your crop will be really good. It won't really hurt anything. If you stake and you want your plants real close together, maybe let one or two develop and grow your plant quite vertical, because what you want is air circulation between the plants. You know, I've been studying suckers, and I always thought, well, you have your central and then the suckers, and they produce flowers as well. But the flowers don't start until further up the sucker. So a one stem versus a two stem plant is not necessarily twice the tomatoes. It's maybe 1.5 times the tomatoes. The other problem with heirlooms, and I'm sure those of you who grow heirlooms and have seen this, they don't just sucker. That main stem breaks into 4 stems about 2 feet off the ground, and then you have to decide, what the hell am I going to do now with this? Because each one of those become massive growing stems. So whatever suits your own garden. One thing that's important: don't sucker determinants and don't sucker dwarfs, because you will significantly reduce the yield. But indeterminates, you know, you get to the top of your 6-foot stake, chop them all off. Tomatoes are almost like weeds until the disease hits, but they don't mind being pruned. They don't mind being topped. They don't mind being espaliered, you know, make a nice design out of them. Have fun with them. Try different things. Try one plant one way, another plant another way, and this is turning your garden into a little bit of a, you know, a learning lab, and you can kind of get the answer to your question that way. I am a 3 sucker. I do 4 stems, the center plus 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, if you sucker a determinant, does that mean you're the sucker?
You are, because they flower differently than indeterminates. The branches just kind of end in a whole burst of flowers, and they produce all their crop in about 2 weeks. And then you can just pull the plant. So determinants are just very, very different. Dwarfs are not determinants. Dwarfs are indeterminates that grow at half the vertical rate. So if you have a 6-foot tall Cherokee purple, your dwarf at the end of the season will be 3 feet tall, but it will fruit gradually throughout the season, like an indeterminate does. I get more questions about that. Is this a determinate dwarf or an indeterminate dwarf? It's a dwarf. It is just a dwarf. It is a third major type of tomato. Grow a few and you'll get to see exactly what it does.
So, Craig, let's talk about like the origins of tomatoes, because as I understand it, a tomato in its original state before cultivation is an indeterminate vine that is perennial in warmer climates. Is that right?
Yeah.
So when did determinants happen? When did they start?
Yeah, determinate actually arose as a mutation. I forget the variety it came out of, and I think 1923, and they named it Cooper Special. But it was a small 3-ounce pink tomato. I've actually grown it, and that tomato was used for breeding the determinants going forward. So you have the little Peruvian tomato, tiny. I mean, think Mexico midget, think Matt's wild cherry, growing down in the mountains of South America, Central America. They must have had mutations that they cultivated, because by the time the tomatoes made it to Spain in the 1580s, there were larger ones, there were gold ones, there were yellow ones. So it was the smart Inca and Aztec farmers that noted the odd mutation that then carried them on. And that's how we get so many tomatoes today. You know, if you grow enough tomatoes, you will find a mutation. One branch of a plant will put out tomatoes that are totally different than the rest. That's a somatic mutation. Or, you know, when my Cherokee purple flipped to Cherokee chocolate, and I had a skin color mutation. These things just happen over a long period of time. But tomatoes are relatively young compared to potatoes and some of the other crops and beans. So I think we still don't know everything there is to know about the history of tomatoes, where they originated, and there's always going to be something to find.
Mm.
What's the first one you ever grew? What's the first variety you ever grew?
Okay, so
Good
back
question.
in 1986, no, 1981, my wife and I got married in 1980. We had our first garden at Hanover, New Hampshire. I was at Dartmouth in the PhD program there. She was a nurse at the hospital, and we grew 6 Better Boys and 1 Roma.
Mm.
We went down to the local plant shop and just got our little 6-packs. And I got bored after a couple of years of those, and that's when I joined the Seed Savers Exchange in 1986 to break the boredom and show me that there is a diverse world of tomatoes. If you look at Epic Tomatoes in the index or an appendix, for 3 years, I did a competition. I grew heirlooms, I grew hybrids, and I measured every fruit. My wife was going to kill me. Don't pick that tomato, I haven't weighed it yet. And I have comparisons of yields, hybrid versus heirloom. And that convinced me that by growing heirlooms, I'm not going to sacrifice plant health, yield. In fact, I'm going to enjoy the flavor more. That's a great question. No one has ever asked me that question.
I was the first.
Yeah. How about that? That's kind of one of those questions you would think you get a lot, but wow, that's pretty good.
I get what's your favorite variety? When I used to sell seedlings in Raleigh, what's your favorite variety? I wanted one of those little push button speakers where you had like the 5 main questions and you can just press the button when they ask.
Yeah.
You're standing on concrete for 8 hours answering the same questions. You want to be nice and you want to be kind, so you do that. Then you get home and go ahead.
You need a business card with all the top FAQs, the frequently asked questions on your business card. That way, when people ask, you can just
yes.
card. And there's seeds in the card. That pretty cool.
I have an FAQ on my website, and I wonder if more than 10 people have looked at it, because what people want is to talk to you.
Yeah.
They want the personal. And this is not a bad thing. They want the interaction. They want the communication. They want to form this friendship with you. And it's really wonderful. I feel like I'm just the luckiest person in the world to have met so many nice people and helped to teach them about gardening. And I'm sure they're teaching their kids about gardening. So, like the Cherokee Purple thing, how often do you get to make just this tiny little mark? And you just like it, and you just are grateful for it.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the wonderful part about the gardening community, right? It brings so many people together, and you have something to look forward to for the rest of your life, because you're always learning and always connecting and trying new things, and it's just it's the best.
Ending. And if you try all these things and just keep them to yourself, you're not teaching. So you try them and then you share them, and that's why Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, talking about it to people. Sometimes you have to get over the nervousness of being on stage or in front of people. But once you get over that, it's just so much fun, because you're teaching them something, they're teaching you something, everybody benefits.
Yeah, it's an exchange. I love it.
Well, a gardener, a tomato gardener, whatever kind of gardener, is to just have a lot of everything. I mean, you buy too many seeds, first of all, you buy too many, you raise too many transplants. You always have you have too much produce. You always have stuff you have to give away. So you're just our very nature is like you got to just give, because we just over the top kind of people.
Yeah, and you'll always end up dividing your perennials and potting them up, and for what? What are you going to do with them all? Yeah, my whole driveway is a bunch of stuff that.
Every one of my plants has a peace lily. Every one of my friends has a peace lily. I can't give any more away. They don't want them anymore.
I got 2 right over here. So,
well, right on, guys. I mean, we're starting to get well into this. We're gonna have to kind of wrap up here real quick, I do want to thank everybody who's been putting in all the questions. I wish we could have gotten to everybody's questions here today for sure. I did want to put this comment back up though, because Robin's like, we need to get Craig back in the green room so we could geek out on Tums again. This is a great conversation. I know.
You're gonna have to have a part 2 so that I can do that lightning round as well.
Yeah,
I love the lightning rounds. I love to be put in the spot. But yeah, anytime for any reason, this was so much fun, and I feel like I reached a lot of people, and a lot of people reached me. So I mean, nothing's better than that. I'm not going to be able to sleep for hours now because my brain's going to be going.
Oh, right on. I love it. No, and that's the same for all of us, Craig, though, too. And I know, Mark, we enjoyed the conversation with you so much the last time on the book club. This has just been exceptional. I'm just really glad to get all of us together here tonight. And you know what? I really like that. I just wanted to say this too, is, you know, the real piece of advice you talk about. I heard here from Gardner Scott, who's regularly on our show, and he's got years and years of gardening experience as well too. And I just love that hopefulness that you guys share about this lifelong love and passion for growing and gardening that you're all still working so hard and instilling in all of us that got to look forward to all of this, you know, so much more and all this stuff together. It's just really awesome again to sharing all those great words and experience with us tonight.
I had just the best time. Thank you so much.
Fun to be here. So Craig, always great to be with you. I mean, it feels like we just got tomatoized. I mean, it was like it was a direct transmission right from the master. So thank you.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, and I feel like I've got a set of new friends. I mean, you guys were great, all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing with us. Appreciate it.
Now, you know what Craig's going to go? He's going to be tossing and turning tonight because he's going to be like, I can't believe somebody out there thinks Dr. White Cheese Yellow is a yellow tomato.
He said, I'm just so glad I can set this straight.
It's clearly an orange.
Thank you. I deserved every bit of this grief.
That's great. We love it. That's so wonderful. And again, yes, we will. We'll get you back on our calendar here real soon because again, too, and I kind of knew this, and you know, as I was thinking about having you on and everything, is that tomatoes are just one of the #1 subjects when it comes to gardening. And we talk about what do you love growing. I hear it all the time. Oh, it's my tomatoes. So I knew we were going to get a great conversation, tons of questions and all of that. So we'll definitely get you back on here on as we get growing in the season, so we can check in on everybody's tomato grows and help them along this season as well too.
Very cool.
Make sure you keep Enoch up to date with your self-published book too, because we're all going to want to know about that. That's important.
Absolutely.
Well, every time I talk about it, I put more pressure on myself, meaning it's more likely to happen.
That's right. Pressure's on now. We need this information. Yeah. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for the really awesome conversation tonight. And again, too, we'll just be finishing up here in a couple of minutes if you want to hang on here for a little bit. But we got a little break we're going to take here. Natalie and I'll be right back in just one moment. Hey, gardeners, thanks for tuning in to our show today. We'll be right back at it here in just a moment. I just wanted to take a second here to highlight our regular videos and features here on the Urban Gardener channel. Our weekly garden journals, and our incredible featured visits. All right. Wow. I just knew this was going to be the case tonight too, man. What a great
conversation.
I know it. I think this is the least amount of hosting either one of us even had to do for a show.
Honestly, so far, we had Mark and Craig covered it for us. So that was honestly a great conversation. And also the chat. So many wonderful questions. Thank you all for watching, tuning in, participating.
I just wish we could have gotten, we should have, we could have extended this show out an extra hour or something. Got to all them questions, but literally like Craig said, he's got we got links. Yeah. And we'll have a part 2, but we also got
Yeah.
links down below. Like Craig said, go and get a hold of him. Go find him on Instagram and all that as well too. And he'd love to answer your questions and talk tomatoes with you for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Crazy. And again, too, it's hard to even stop a conversation like that. It's like, it's stopping like a huge freight train or something, like instantly. It's like, how do we do this?
It's one of those things where, if you're a gardener, you grow your own food, it's hard not to geek out over tomatoes, right? There's so many, like I told you, Seed Addict from the chat sent me, I don't know, maybe 50 different tomato variety or seed tomato varieties. So
you'll be trying to grow those out for years, huh?
Yeah, the world of tomatoes is vast, and I'm just tapping into it, so it's all very exciting to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, anyways, everybody, let's just run through this real quick here. Let's talk about what we've got coming up here on the Let's Get Growing show. We're back at it Saturday. We've got a Saturday show, but guess what? I'm not going to be here. I'm taking Saturday off. That's right. I'm going to take Saturday off, and Jay Dixon, our J-Bot's going to take over. Katrina from Sow and Tear, our contributor for Grow What You Eat on tonight's Green Room, will be joining Jay this next Saturday for a conversation there. So definitely jump over to see them this next Saturday. And on our Sunday edition of the Let's Get Growing show coming up here this next Sunday, we are going to have with us Tony O'Neill. Tony O'Neill from Simplify Gardening will be joining with us on the Sunday edition show, because this is going to be a talk about an announcement on his new app that he's got coming out called Grow Track. We're going to talk all about this really cool new app. It's not like any growing app that you've seen out there before. I'll guarantee you that. You want to know all about it, come and join with us this next Sunday. And then Natalie will be right back at it again this next Monday too for another Green Room. And this time we've got joining with us this next Monday, we've got the Texas Garden Guy and Phil's Figs joining with us. These guys are the hosts of the Garden Party podcast. So it's going to be really fun to get these two together here on the Green Room with us.
I've been following them for a while. I'm so excited to have a conversation with them. So next week is going to be fun. You know what? We have such wonderful guests in the Green Room. It's always a great conversation. I feel like the time flies.
Yeah. I really do wish we were like an hour longer. That's what we could really use it. Tell us a little bit more about what you got going on over at the Fresh Princess this week. You still doing your lives every day, right?
Still going to do the lives every day, cleaning and strategizing and planning. So all the things that go into gardening that people don't really talk about, all the behind the scenes and the legwork that goes into the garden. So really just going to be pivoting and taking everybody on the journey with me. We'll see how things go.
Yeah. Again, too, a nice restart journey. It's good. It might have been kind of a little crazy thinking about having to do it and everything, but it's going to be fun. You're going to have a whole new experience to share with everybody.
And I'm going to start growing some Sun Gold tomatoes. I'm going to try those. So it's an opportunity to try some of the new varieties that were mentioned in tonight's show. So I can't wait.
Excellent. So yeah, definitely everybody drop down, get into the links down below, and go and check out Natalie over at the Fresh Princess. Go check out our guests, Mark and Craig, and all of our other contributors there. And definitely real quick before you head out, let's click that like button, hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, bell notification to be notified of all of our upcoming shows, and share with all your friends. Let them know about the Let's Get Growing show, all 3 of our shows on our 3-day gardening weekend here on the Urban Gardener channel. And again, look forward to seeing all of you coming up this next weekend. We got lots more great shows ahead for you. So again, we'll see all of you then.
Take care.
power out,